a different look, different uniform. I'm not going to lie, Mikey, I do feel a little bit like a secret agent dressed in this, but is this the uniform we're wearing?
I think start as you mean to go on, eh?
You're gambling with World War III.
Это нарушает нашу безопасность, расширение НАТО.
As a military strategic planner, a former planner, you don't want politicians telegraphing what your next moves are going to be.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too.
A peacekeeping force does not exist with a ceasefire.
Hello, welcome to a new look, more digital-friendly version of the Security Brief with me, Christian Fraser.
And me, Mikey Kay.
And hopefully as we go along, more of you will join us on the app and on iPlayer. You'll get involved. Do send us your questions as we go forward so we can shape the debate within the programme. But we're going to kick off this week, Mikey, with the obvious story, the Ukrainian drone attack over the weekend. Unprecedented in the manner in which it was planned and in the way in which it was executed.
Yeah, Operation Spiderweb, as the SBU or the Ukrainian intelligence have called it. You're looking at a Renaissance Trojan horse style hybrid attack with state-of-the-art drone technology, which is relatively cheap. This allowing to kind of do some form of David and Goliath type approach. You know, you're talking about drones taking out strategic bombers, which is just phenomenal, and it kind of makes me think of a little bit of Pearl Harbor.
No need to emphasize the extent of the damage. No need to underline that the Japanese bombs did their work well. You see it. You get it like a heavy blow right between the eyes.
In terms of the asymmetric warfare component, in terms of kamikaze style, you know, drones, kamikaze pilots, one-way missions. It's just phenomenal, and we will get into more detail. But I just want the viewers to have a look, and I want you to take a look at this drone footage, which is believed to be over Belaya, which is one of the strategic bases in the east. We'll take a look at the bases in a second. But I'm just pausing the video footage, and you can basically see what is effectively a heads-up display on the drone. You can see burning aircraft out on the left-hand side. You can see the main runway in front of you. But the bit I really want to tease out is on this heads-up display, on the right-hand side, you've got the height of the drone. On the left-hand side, you've got the speed of the drone. And then that little clock cloud around the top you can see there, that's the compass. So what comes out for me, Christian, on this is, you know, in terms of verifying where this is, we know what the main runway is in terms of the coordinates of the main runway at Belaya, and you can use the coordinates that the drone's flying to be able to corroborate, if you like, where that airfield is. And then if we just fast forward a little bit, you can see this drone flying over. That's a Tu-95. We'll go into that later too. And these aircraft are burning. These are major assets.
One step back, because I want to talk about what they were targeting in a second. But is that what you would see as a pilot normally if you were flying a drone? A sort of a compass display, a height on the right and a speed on the left?
Well, I mean, for me, I've not flown. These are FPV drones, right? First person view. So I've not flown an FPV drone before, but that's obviously the one with the goggles on. So inside that, you're going to have, you know, they've obviously got the technology to be able to draw this information out so they don't have to look away from where they're flying. And it's a similar process that's been going on in jets for a long, long time as a heads-up display. So basically, the pilot looks through the cockpit and is looking out, and on a little piece of glass in front of the cockpit, they have all this information. The idea is that you can always keep heads out rather than have a refer to the instruments inside the cockpit. So, you know, HUDs have been around for a long time. HUDs on FPVs. I mean, it's pretty ingenious stuff.
What we've got to discuss later is where these pilots were, and that is a story in and of itself. But let's start with the what. What did they target in this operation, and where did they hit them?
You're looking at Russia. There are 4 bases where there are verified hits. The first one is in the very northwest of Russia. It's in Murmansk, which is not too far away from the Finnish border, right up there on the ocean. That's Alenia. Then you've got 2 strategic bases down by Moscow. And then the really interesting one, Christian, is you go 2,800 kilometers right to the east, right deep inside Russia, just over the Mongolian border, and then you've got Belaya, deep, deep, deep inside.
Right, so you're not going to be able to hit a target like that with a drone on an RF frequency.
No, I'm certainly curious as to how they've done that, because it's quite phenomenal. But let's have a look at what we call in the military BDA, which is bomb damage assessment. This video is a caption of images where you can see the main runways with a lot of the strategic bomber assets on those runways. And the whole idea of this video is just to show you that there were strategic bombers, Russian strategic bombers, based at these locations, which are deep into Russian territory, as we get onto the thermal image, or what looks like the thermal image. And what that's capturing is the post-attack assessment. And if we just zoom in a little bit on that, you can see that there has been a cataclysmic amount of damage on these assets.